What's up, Mets and overall baseball fans? Welcome back to the channel. Yes, it still has not fully processed that Jacob deGrom's time in Queens is done, but in the famous words of Steve Cohen, it is time to move on. And it's not a matter of if, but when the Mets are going to sign one, if not two star aces for this rotation for the 2023 season, thanks to some big reports that came out right after deGrom officially signed with the Rangers last night. But before we get into it all I ask is, if you're new to the channel, don't hesitate from smashing that like and subscribe button, helping us get a 20K subs for an extra short-term goal. Thank you guys all so much in advance. And of course, I have to let you all know that today's show is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline is your #1 source for all your sports betting needs, so make sure you head over to betonline.ag using promo code Bleav, at BLEAV. That way you get a 50% off welcome bonus. BetOnline, it's where the games begin. And now, folks, let's let the show begin, because breaking news reports from last night of SNY, as you see here, the Mets are determined to land one of, if not both of, Justin Verlander and Carlos Rodon. And if they do not land both, we'll certainly be landing another starting pitcher in the Taiwan Walker, Andrew Heaney, Kyle Gibson, Ross Stripling, Kodai Senga, Jose Quintana, maybe a Chris Bassett type territory. So what I want to know is your raw reactions in the comments below. For me, my raw reactions to this is, I'm still trying to process Jacob deGrom not being a New York Met. And for those that are wondering, why aren't you reacting, why aren't you crying, I went over all my raw thoughts on Jake leaving the Mets last night, right as a report first came out from Jeff Passan. Check it out in the live stream after watching this one. It was a big live stream, it had so many views. Thank you guys all so much for that. We had a thorough discussion on Jake leaving, and what we know now is that, yes, Jacob deGrom didn't even give the Mets a chance to speak to him on Friday after Thursday's negotiations. Once he got deep into talks with the Texas Rangers on Friday, it made abundantly clear the Mets would not be given an option to have, say, a final offer. Granted, I never would have expected the Mets to go to 5 years, $185 million with a 6-year option, but again, just shows you where Jacob deGrom's heart was at. I'm not too surprised here. It is what it is. I wish him all the best in Texas. But now the Mets need to drastically change and upgrade, fix rather, this rotation, and fast. The dominoes are starting to fall, and as we've seen from SNY's report, yes, no one should be surprised that the Mets are now going all in on Justin Verlander and Carlos Rodon. Could they land both of them? Nothing's impossible with Steve Cohen. I will say, however, I would be a little surprised only because of the fact that that's easier said than done, right? You're looking at one guy going to be making around 40 mil over 2 or 3 years, that being Justin Verlander, AAV wise per year. Carlos Rodon's going to be making north of 30 mil per year, more than likely on an upwards of 5 or even 6-year deal, maybe an option similar to deGrom. So it's not going to come cheap. The pitching market is expensive as all heck. What we do know, however, is that the Mets last offseason were trying to land both Kevin Gausman and Max Scherzer. They were prioritizing them both, so it wouldn't be the craziest thing in the world if we find them landing both of them here, and that would be truly amazing for this rotation. But as Andy Martino made note of last night, and again, I'm not someone that's a lover of Andy, but he is accurate here. He's been accurate with his reporting, whether we like it or not, and he did make note that, yes, the Mets aren't just viewing Justin Verlander as a plan B option. They have loved him as a fit from the beginning in the meetings that they've already had with him via Zoom. Same thing to a certain extent can be said with Carlos Rodon, even though that, of course, Rodon does in fact have that compensation pick tied to him should you sign him to whatever contract it may be. So the Mets, they're pretty much a lock, a sure guarantee to land one of these pitchers. If they don't, I will be just as shocked and surprised as you guys. Then they would have to pivot to the trade market, which is a much more difficult situation. So I'd say it's very accurate in saying that, yes, the Mets are going to land of one of a Justin Verlander, who just came off of a Cy Young award-winning season, as you see from the stat line down below. Truly phenomenal year for the 40-year-old. And yes, I'm not in favor of a Max Scherzer type contract for Verlander, but that is something that unfortunately feels more and more like a reality for me personally, or wherever he's going to land, whether that's the Mets, whether that's the Dodgers. But I will be pretty surprised, honestly, if he does not land with the Mets, based on the Mets doing this with Max already. I don't love the idea of having two pitchers at 40 mil AAV for multiple years at the top of your rotation when you don't know how healthy they're going to be over a 162. A lot of uncertainties, but all these pitchers are uncertainties. That's exactly why the Mets didn't bring back Jake in part, but of course Jake wanted to leave, because would the Mets want to give him 5 years, maybe even 6? No, there's no chance that that was going to happen. And that's why I'm not surprised, at least, that the Mets weren't already flustered by not getting the option to even counter that, because I don't think they would have countered that to the degree. They went 3 years, 120 mil, 40 mil AAV for deGrom, and Jake decided to go for 5, 185 with a 6-year option to Texas. So You look at there with JV, you look at Carlos Rodon from his stat line, another dominant year for the San Francisco Giants, his first year with them rather, after signing a 1-year prove-it deal, guy that has only truly been healthy for 1 full season in the MLB, 2 straight years of looking really good as a star ace, a dominant southpaw with high velo on his fastball, nasty slider, love his arsenal. He would be perfect for this Mets rotation. And if you're asking for my personal opinion, I want Rodon more than Verlander. I love the idea of a guy that's 4 years younger already than Jacob deGrom on a similar type contract year-wise, but smaller AAV, and a guy that can help you not only in the short term, but potentially longer term if you sign him to upwards of a 5-year deal. I think Carlos Rodon is exactly the type of star the Mets can use right now. Yes, there's uncertainties with his health, but that goes for everyone. Who's a safer bet? Carlos Rodon at the age of 31 or Justin Verlander at the age of 40? Who's going to give you a better option to pitch more innings down the stretch for the next 162 of a season over the next couple years at minimum? If I'm a betting man, I'm going with Carlos Rodon right now just because I think there's more upside. As great as JV is, however, I won't be upset if the Mets land JV. I will just have cautious optimism there because we needs to prove it in New York after winning a championship. What are his desires to really be all in and give that same effort again when he's done everything he needed to do to be a sure Hall of Famer? He's done it all. Rodon's a different discussion. He still has that type of hunger, that drive that guys who haven't won championships currently have. That is Carlos Rodon. So keeping that in mind, but of course I would love either of these guys, if not both, for the rotation. But in the scenario where the Mets do not land both, they have other options. And I'm a little taken back on some of these. Kyle Gibson, I hope, is not coming to the New York Mets. He's not anything better than even a Carlos Carrasco as your number 4 or number 5. So scratch that off. I'm not in favor of that should have happened. I think Taijuan Walker is a replacement, though, instead of Kyle Gibson. I would love Ty back. I think he's going to sign a bigger deal elsewhere, though, because the market is expensive. Ross Stripling, I could see as actually a feasible fit, given what his price point is going to be. Had a strong year with the Blue Jays around a 3-year array. Hasn't pitched too much, however, that we've seen throughout his career, so I have concerns. Andrew Heaney, I like more as a number 5/ a swing man than I do as a surefire thing in your rotation. He was just fixed by the Dodgers with his arsenal. Is he going to be able to contain that and be sustainable as a starter for another year or two on the shorter term? I'm not too sure. Then you look at Kodai Senga. He is my favorite option. Jose Quintana's thrown in there too. Not a fan. Chris Bassett is someone where it was just reported that the Mets really hope that Chris Bassett returns, but now from these latest reports, Bassett wasn't even mentioned. So does that mean he's out of the realm of possibility for the Mets? I don't know, but if there's one starter that is not an ace that the Mets should land, in my opinion, it is going to be Kodai Senga if it's not Taijuan Walker. Kodai Senga, we talked about him endlessly. He has flame-throwing stuff, touches a hundo on the gun, has the fork slash the splitty, has a slider. This guy has all the potential in the world to be a number 3 in this rotation to start, but has ace-level potential even as long as he hits his stride. His walk rate has been decent, not amazing, but definitely something that Jeremy Heffer can work with, and he could very well be a helpful draw in trying to get Shohei Ohtani next offseason, if, say, not via trade by the trade deadline, if not even this offseason. Again, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't see Shohei getting traded this soon at least, but a lot of options for the Mets, but it starts with them being a surefire guarantee to land one of Justin Verlander or Carlos Rodon, if not both. So Mets fans, I want to know your thoughts in the comments below. How do you feel about all this? Again, let me hear your raw reactions to Jacob deGrom leaving. I know you guys have done that in the live stream, but let me know down below. Again, what pitcher between the two would you more be in favor of? Shorter term, high AV, that's Justin Verlander. I understand that with the Mets mindset and Steve Cohen. Longer term, but a guy that has so much upside should he stay healthy, and Carlos Rodon, and is 4 years younger than Jacob deGrom. I would love that dominant southpaw in the rotation. Whoever you're in favor of, if not both, let me know down below. And for the depth options, let me know as well. Are you a fan of Kodai Senga the way that I am? Whatever it is, make sure to drop them. And again, folks, if you found yourself enjoying this kind of Mets content and you want to see more great Mets content like this, don't hesitate for smashing that like and subscribe button. Help us get a 20K subs for our next short-term goal. Thank you guys all so much in advance as always, and stay tuned for more great content. Any breaking news, we'll be doing live streams, a lot of Mets free agent frenzies coming up, live streams that we're going to be doing with the winter meetings starting this Sunday. A lot of new podcasts for Bleav in Queens, myself, Joe Serralo, and Anthony Recker, former New York Met, now MLB Network turned analyst. So a lot of great content coming. Stay tuned for it, but until then, I'll talk to you guys later. Let's go Mets, baby. Peace out.